as well. I'm
Good.
scared now.
Right, we're now live. Good afternoon. You are watching the 3Cs with myself, Emma Kirk, and Sarah Williamson. Today, we are joined by the beautiful and fabulous Jo Taylor. And apologies for the intro; we were already laughing. So I can warn you now, it's going to be one of those shows. But hopefully, we'll give you some interesting information as well.
Hope so.
It's brilliant. It's the middle of the week, we're all in that kind of phrase. But anyway, okay, maybe we're not drunk. We're not drunk.
Cup of tea. What am I talking about? Yorkshire tea, of course.
Of course, yes. We're having a green tea. That's what we're doing.
Ah.
So we're joined by Jo Taylor today. Jo, for people who don't know anything about yourself, could you just give us a little bit of background?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed 13 years ago with primary breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was I was 38, complete shock. I had a 5-month-old baby and nearly 2.5-year-old. So I was literally on maternity leave when I got told that I had primary cancer. So not in the family at all, had no, genetic issues, didn't think that I was even, there was any possibility that it was going to be cancer. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I think it was, I got told that I had cancer. So you're on the treadmill of, you're now a cancer patient. So I had a mastectomy. In fact, I had a full mastectomy and a reconstruction at the same time. So I had an LD flap, latimus dorsi, so the muscle taken out and placed into the breast cavity. And it was actually my choice of having that done. I had a bit of an issue with the reconstruction at the time, and this kind of kicked off why I've created ABCD in the very, from the early days and from the early stage. So yeah, had a reconstruction. That all went very well, apart from not realising that, for 7 weeks couldn't even hold a baby, which was crazy. I wish I would have really thought this over, properly. So I had the reconstruction. Then I had started on chemotherapy. So I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I had 3 FEC and 3, it should have been Taxol, I think it was. And the Taxol I was allergic to. So they dripped it in very slowly first time, and then the second time I had the same allergic reaction. Stopped that, and I just had another one of FEC, I think it was. So I had the 6 rounds of that, finished all that. Then I had 5 weeks, 20 rounds, I think it was. 4 weeks, sorry, of radiotherapy. So the standard kind of, procedure of what you have when you've got HER2 positive breast cancer. That's what I had. And it was a grade 2, small, 2 centimetre cancer. So, and it had spread to my lymph nodes. So I had 10 out of 42 lymph nodes, I believe. I didn't even know that people can have different numbers of lymph nodes under their arm. So I had 42. I have to be a bit different. I have to have a bit more. So I had a full nodal removal, because it was before they did even sentinel node biopsy at that time. So they just got rid of them anyway. So had all that done, and spat out the other end. You're on tamoxifen, you're on it for 5 years, kind of off you go. You come back every year. Yearly mammogram, because obviously of my age, yearly mammogram and yearly check with the surgeon. So that would be scheduled like every 6 months. So I'd actually see an oncologist every 12 months and a surgeon every 12 months, but that'd be in 6 months intervals, so that I'd always see somebody every 6 months. So that was kind of me, and I carried on with. Sorry, go on.
So I think Sarah's trying to ask a question.
I'm just looking at both of our care plans. I'm very much similar to yourself. Mine was grade 3, stage 6. And I had the latimus dorsi, but I had like 2.5 after because I had lots of complications. For our viewers that don't understand the terminology, when you talked about FET and these are chemotherapies, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was on similar, and I'm looking at you're currently still on treatment. Obviously, things have changed from 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Where now?
So everything carried on normal. I got back to exercise, carried on with life, and then I started the website. And then a year after, so 6 years after my primary diagnosis, started the website after breast cancer diagnosis. And then a year after that, which was 7 years after having primary breast cancer, I was diagnosed with metastatic disease, so secondary breast cancer. And I found a lump in my neck. And that was only because somebody else had told me that they'd found a lump in their neck. So I kind of went, ooh, what's that? Mm-hmm. I found them 4 lumps in the neck. And then when I had a scan, the surgeon had said that I had 2 small bits in my sternum as well, which was called oligometastatic disease, which basically just means early metastatic secondary breast cancer in the bone. So just 2 small spots. So that's what happened with me.
Did you request the scan?
No, I immediately went back to, I didn't go to the GP because I knew that it was something to do with breast cancer. So I immediately went back to the breast unit and got them to check, because I think that's the best way to do anything if you've had breast cancer and you've got concerns.
Yeah, I agree. At the moment, certainly in Mid Yorkshire hospitals, we recommend that if someone has any symptoms, they're already in the system, so they get fast tracked back through the team.
Yeah.
So how has your treatment panned out now? How regular do you have treatment?
So I have treatment. I've been having treatment every 3 weeks for the last 6 years. And at first I was going back to Christie's. So it would be at the hospital there. But then 4 years ago I changed to, there's an outreach centre which is 20 minutes away here. So I've changed to that because it's just much better, easy to get to, less trouble, less people there. Christie's is a huge hospital, like I'm sure you have huge cancer hospitals like where you are, and they're just so busy, and this is much better.
Okay, so with COVID times, Jo, you've mentioned people at the outreach post go to. Is it important that you're not around people?
Is it important that I am around people?
That you're not around people?
Oh, yeah. You mean to do with COVID? Yeah. I am shielding. I've had the letter. I already started shielding before the schools were even closed down. I took my 2 children out of school because I just knew that there was a risk there, and I didn't want my children coming home saying that, you know, somebody's coughing behind me all the time, somebody's been sent home. Such a worry. So I took them out, and literally we've been locked down for the last 4 months. so I've been but I haven't been strict, as in I will not go out of the house. I do go out of the house, but I don't do any shopping. It's always online. Husband, he's also furloughed. Children at 16 and 14, and they stay in. And we go for a walk once a day, which was the recommended. We live in quite a rural area. We're very lucky that we can walk out and not see anyone. So
was your decision, Jo, to switch to the outreach, was that because of COVID, or had you already done that prior?
No, I'd already done that prior, yeah. And that was because of waiting times at the Christie, issues that I'd had, and just time, because I wanted to drop my kids off at school, go and have my treatment, come back, pick them up, do whatever I needed to do, and live my life. I don't want to be dictated by the hospital and be held there for like 7 hours captive, like I seem to be. Get me off my IV.
Joe, are you,
dragging it around.
Say that again, Sarah.
are you homeschooling at the moment, Joe?
Yeah. To be honest, my husband has been doing a lot of it, and he's been really good. I do help, but my kids are quite motivated. Son, he's been less motivated because he should have had GCSEs, and as soon as they said, "Oh well, we're just gonna take your mock scores and blah blah blah," we're not gonna. He kind of went, "Well, I don't have to do any work anymore, do I?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And you're not sitting on that Xbox for the next 12 hours doing.
I have to agree with him though. If someone told me that I was just going to get given my predicted score, I'd be like, "Well, what's the point now?"
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
I
not a
do
good
know what
role
you mean.
model.
No, I'm not letting him see you. I'm not having him talk to you. Go away. No, joking.
No, it must. I think it's that kind of like it's having been through exams. I've done exams during lockdown. The motivation for me was because it was
Paid job.
well, no, it was just
Oh.
it was what I was going to do was help. It was helping further with what I was already doing, and there was a definite pathway.
Okay.
I think if you're adding to your skill set, it's different,
Yeah.
isn't it? But
Yeah.
if someone had said to me at GCSEs, well, we're just going to give you predicted grades, it would have been different to when at A level you're trying to go somewhere with it.
Yeah, understand that. But I am going to use that terminology, what you've just used, adding to your skill set. I'm going to tell him that his revision and what he's doing now is going to add to his skill set. So thank you for that.
Excellent.
I'm writing it down.
I'm going to be careful what I say now.
It's only positive stuff, of course.
Yeah. Always a positive person that a lot of breast cancer patients look up to. In terms of your diagnosis, you go for every 3 weeks. How have things changed in appearance of staff? What do you have to do differently when you go to your appointments?
The only thing that I've personally done myself, I mean, they've not told me to do it, but I wear gloves and I wear a face mask. Any kind of face covering I think is really important. And I wear glasses as well, because early on I was listening to everything what people were saying about if somebody coughs in your face, you could be 2 meters away, but droplets are spread. It could end up in your eyes. You can catch COVID that way. So I was kind of mega, I'm going to wear glasses. I'm going to wear face mask or face covering or, whatever, and the gloves. But obviously when you're in hospital, you may go in with the gloves and then you may go to the loo, say, and you're going to have to wash your hands, aren't you? So you take your gloves off, throw them away and wash your hands and whatever. And so them are the only 3 things really that I've actually done differently. Everything else has carried on the same, and thankfully my treatment has carried on the same. I do know a lot of patients who either have had the treatment stopped, delayed, clinical trials stopped, and that can be devastating because sometimes with clinical trials it may be kind of a last attempt to to be able to have some treatment, because they may have stopped all of the treatment or exhausted everything else that they've had. So that's been pretty devastating for some people.
It's been such a trying time for so many. I would like to look at your beginnings with ABCD. Do you want to tell us what made you put that together as a website? What made you look at exercise as a way of recovering? Tell us about ABCD.
Yeah. So I did start it off because I had this idea in my head about reconstruction. Because I had a bit of a bad experience with reconstruction, I changed surgeon 3 days. 3 days after I was diagnosed, I literally went to see a lady who'd had an LD flap, a latimus dorsi, reconstruction, and I just thought that's what I want. I wanted that specific reconstruction, and my local hospital couldn't give me that option, so I went to another hospital. And I think all the way through, everything that I do is about your choice. I think it's really empowering that to know that as a patient, you don't always have to. Yes, you've got these professionals, amazing people who are helping you, and are going to get you either cured or stable or whatever it is, through your journey of breast cancer. But you've got to also know that if you may not even like that person, you may not gel with them, there may be issues that they don't give you the right information, and I think you need to be a very knowledgeable person and understand your disease a little bit more than just going, oh yes, Mr. Oncologist or Mrs. Oncologist, you know everything about the disease, but actually it's my decision of what I want. So that's kind of where it started with reconstruction, and then it's kind of developed into other things because I was always an active person. I started running a couple of years before I was diagnosed. In fact, I think it was just after my first child. I started running with my sister-in-law. And I'd got up to a decent, running like 8 miles, and we were talking about entering races and stuff. Then I got hit with the breast cancer. 6 months later, tried again, didn't happen, couldn't do it. 12 months later, I started plodding and started exercise again. And that has been physically and mentally, I think, for me, has been my saviour. And I love doing any kind of exercise. I can't do certain things now because of the surgeries that I've had, but I still think it's a massive thing for physical well-being and your mental well-being. Mental well-being, definitely, especially through COVID as well. If you can get out and walk, even if it's just a walk around the block, I think it massively helps with your mental health. And I think that's probably shown through a lot of people who have been dealing with cancer or just with COVID, with normal life.
Yeah.
The first thing that Boris Johnson said, that everybody was going out for an hour a day, and what did everybody do? They all put the blooming walking shoes on and got out.
Yeah,
So
the
that's been a
countryside's now
massive
more.
thing.
The countryside's now busier than it's ever been.
Yeah, nightmare.
I think it's interesting though what you said, that concerning what you wanted, you found a technique and a reconstruction that you wanted, and that's what you sought out. Now I was very similar to that. I'd already pre-planned what I wanted, and I went and I found somebody who was prepared to do that. And it's not, to be fair, not just with my reconstruction. I did that. I've done that for other ops as well, because I know what I would like for my own recovery. And that's what I think is part of it for me. The mental side of it is, if I'm not getting the type of treatment that I want, I automatically feel like I'm at a lesser advantage.
Yeah.
Because it's not what I'm seeking.
Yeah.
And when I found the guy who did the reconstruction that I wanted, I felt more empowered and more in control. But then, like yourself, my plan of action from the very day dot of being diagnosed was, right, I've got to get my body prepared for an operation that's going to be long. I'm going to be in there a while. And then I did that. I focused on fitness and cardio. And then afterwards I had my whole meal plans and my training exercise all planned out and mapped out, because it gave me focus, structure, but the mental side of it was very important.
Yeah. And it gives you control as well.
Exactly. It's empowering, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's exactly how I felt. Yeah.
For me, Jo, what I really like about your website, ABCD, is that you actually provide a service so that people can map out certain surgeries, whether they would have the latissimus dorsi or whether they would have implants or, any other kind of surgery. You've got a listing of surgeons. You've also got photos so people know what expectations to have. And a lot of patients don't realise that they do have a choice.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think only people that are really driven by the information that they're given, that really read and take on board that there are other options.
Yeah.
A big whole of people don't know that and just go along with what's offered.
Absolutely. That is exactly what happened to me, because I wasn't given the options. And but then I'd researched that myself. I was then able to say, well, actually, I'm not going to even be having the surgery with the surgeon who I should have had. And, even though it would have been easier because it was closer, I wanted to have what I wanted, not what somebody imposed on me. So yeah, having that information there. And I think the other thing that I provide is, and I say this in the book as well, it's basically a one-stop shop. I'm not an expert, as in a clinical expert. I'm not a professional like that. But I've lived it, I've been through it, I've done it, and I know lots of other people who have also, had the same or similar experiences. And that's what I provide. And what I wanted was a patient voice in this clinical, you're given all these leaflets. You have a wad of leaflets, don't you? And you think, God, I'm never going to get through all that. And what does that mean? And what does that? And I wanted to be a voice of, it's me talking, not some clinical expert.
Jo,
It's Joe, the mate from down the road, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it is, but it's so valuable and important. We were speaking to Ian Daniels earlier in our series. He is a clinician, he is a surgeon, but he was very paramount that you have to have that. He's not been through it, he doesn't know what it's like.
Yeah.
And he said that repeatedly. The
Yeah.
voice of the patient and talking to other people who have been through it is as valuable as somebody saying clinically, this is what you need, this is the outcome we need to have. So
Yeah.
absolutely paramount that it's there for people, because a clinician will look at it from a clinical viewpoint.
Yeah.
You're experiencing that, but also at the same time, you're a person.
Yeah. And you're dealing with, a family or a husband or a partner or, children or no children, or being told that you can't have children, because of all this. And all these things are going around in your head, as well as being told, oh, well, so you're having surgery and then you're going to have chemotherapy and then blah, 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 blah. And your head's mashed.
Do you ever have the PREDICT model discussed with you to look at, the effectiveness if you did have chemo, if you did have radiotherapy,
Yeah.
would do to improve your life expectancy?
Yeah, no. 13 years ago, I don't think they either didn't have the PREDICT model, or it just wasn't shared with me because, I was just a patient. And, you're going through this and you don't need to know about that.
Okay.
So they obviously had this is the model of what, somebody with HER2 stage 2 cancer has. And I went through the standard kind of treatment. Yeah.
So I'm of a similar diagnosis to you, HER2 positive. I can never forget the runny nose, the crying eyes, and the goddamn neuropathy, which is still with me today.
Yeah.
How are your side effects?
Yeah, as you can see, I keep down. So I had Herceptin. What day is it? Thursday. I had Herceptin yesterday. So yes, I've got a runny nose. So I had my treatment yesterday. Side effects. Normal side effects, whether it's hot flushes. I'm on Prostat, which is a 3-monthly injection instead of it being, I think it was Zoladex, wasn't it, that you have monthly. I have the Prostat, which is a 3-monthly injection. So that's just shut my ovaries down. So I've got what I call, as a technical term, cockroach ovaries. So they couldn't shut them down, whatever it was. I've had 4 lots of chemotherapy, 4 lots of Zoladex. And every time I came out of chemotherapy, my oncologist would say, and I'd say to him, Greg, I'm not going to get a period again, am I? And he goes, no. What happens? Get a period again. What's happening? Can I not just have one little bit of good stuff that happens instead of losing my hair and stuff? Get rid of me blooming periods anyway. So the last time I kind of said, it's not going to happen again, is it? And blow me, the next day started a period again. So I just went, it was either we take them out or we give you a Prostap and get you through perimenopausal, into menopause, in a chemical way. And because I'm on letrozole as well now.
Okay.
So obviously you have that after menopause, don't you? So I'm on an induced menopause. So yeah, normal side effects, hot flushes, but they've gone better. So I'm not as bad now with things like that. Just aches and pains, peripheral neuropathy. My peripheral neuropathy, having secondary breast cancer, even though I'm not on chemotherapy, and I've not been on chemotherapy for 4 years, my neuropathy has gone worse. But when I spoke to my GP, the letrozole, the Perjeta and the Herceptin all have side effects of peripheral neuropathy, which I didn't know about. So, but how do you suss out which one it is? I can't come off it. I'm not going to come off them. So I've just got to kind of live with it. But it's definitely gone worse in my right foot mainly.
Jo, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. One is, how do you remember what treatment you're having on what day and what you're supposed to be taking? I mean, to be fair, it sounds like a massive cocktail, but anyway. And the other question is, when you were faced with that, the idea of having to have treatment for 6 years, how are you still so positive?
Right, first one. What was the first one? I forgot.
How do you remember what you're taking?
Yeah, I'm kidding you. How do I remember what I'm taking? I write everything down. I am a big believer of lists. I do have a patient card, so a hospital card where they write when I'm going to hospital. But I put everything down in my phone. If I lost my phone, I'll be like losing a leg. So I put everything in my phone, but I do have one of them little boxes as well for my treatment. So even though I'm only on letrozole really, but I do take I have an antibiotic, I have an antihistamine as well, because another side effect is I get a lot of itching. If I start scratching, I'll never stop. So I try to divert myself, but I have antihistamines as well on a daily basis. So, so I have my little box, old lady box of pills morning and night. And then if I forget something, it's the husband's fault, of course. So
yeah, obviously.
So yeah, big believer in lists, write everything down.
I can appreciate what this person's saying though, because myself and Sarah were trying to remember what day of the week your book had come out, and she said to me, "Wait a minute, it was the day before yesterday night." Neither of us can remember, and you do. So I mean,
yeah,
it is daunting, I suppose, isn't it?
You know what? One of the things that I feel that exercise has helped me with is cognitive. And I truly believe that because I'm an active person, as you can tell, I'm a bit mental as well. But because I'm an active person, I think it's helped with the less cognitive decline. And I actually exercised, ran, cycled, yoga all the way through my chemotherapies, apart from my primary chemotherapies. Because I obviously 13 years ago, I was of the belief, sit down, eat a box of chocolates, put your feet up, watch TV. And now I've learned that is totally, totally wrong. Don't do it. Anyone. Don't carry on what you're doing. It's like being when you're pregnant, they say, oh, sit down. And then you get out of pregnancy and you've put 10 stone on and you go, oh, how was that happened? Yeah, because I sat down all the time and ate a box of chocolates and had a chippy.
One of the things that we talk about when we do the exercise classes is the cognitive impact that exercise has, and And I mean, it's not a miracle cure, obviously. You know,
No.
look at the state of us two. Do you know what I mean? But
Rubbish.
it does honestly, it does make a difference. What do you think about that? The cognitive impact, Sarah?
I think it's vital because, you know, Emma, when I started out in the gym, I'd say to you, I can't do that. And you'd say, well, use your good arm. And I'd be like, oh, man. And my good arm would overcompensate for my bad. And that made my bad arm work better.
Right.
Particularly with things like neuropathy in my feet. I struggled with balance and I still have falls.
Yeah.
As Emma knows. I don't need a drink to fall over. I don't always.
Same here.
I had a recent fall where I tripped over the threshold because I didn't think about stepping over it.
Yeah.
But exercise for me gives me a routine. It makes me feel that I want to work that bit harder. And like you went on to talk about the medicine box, I take 28 tablets a day. And if I didn't have that,
wow,
alarms, I wouldn't focus, I wouldn't function. And I think during COVID, it's been a difficult time to think about going outside when you're shielding. And I've had to really force myself to do exercise. But if I don't do the exercise, I think everything would stop.
Yeah. I feel hemmed in and, you know, I don't feel well when I don't exercise. Don't know how you feel.
I would say similar. I think if you don't have a motivation, something energetic, then everything seizes up.
Yeah.
These Zoom meetings or we're sat on our butts and nothing's elastic. So we've got to really challenge ourselves. Can you give our followers some idea of what happens on your ABCD retreats?
Yeah. What was the other question as well? What somebody asked? There was another question as well.
About the having to face the prospect of being on long-term treatment.
Yeah. So long-term treatment. Yeah. I mean, I'm on treatment forever now. I won't ever stop treatment. The day that I stop treatment is the day that I will be told end of life. So I've got to carry on doing what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, you've just got to get your head around that. It's hard, but at the end of the day, what I think is that, you know, people who have, say, what is it? You know, when you have your blood, not a transplant, like a transfusion or whatever. You know what I'm talking? Can't get my words out.
I think vampire, isn't it?
But I mean, they have to have daily kind of treatment, don't they? So once every 3 weeks to me isn't too bad, and I can work my life around it. That I've got to go for treatment every 3 weeks, and to be honest, my life does stay. I keep it as normal and as regular as it possibly can be, apart from blips where you have a progression of a disease or I've had to have surgery, you know, and various things like that. So yeah, it mentally, when I was originally told, it took me, strange to say, about 4 weeks. And I had a small group of people that I'd emailed, and there were 4 of us, 3 friends. 2 had secondary breast cancer, 1 had just had a recurrence. And I remember one of my friends saying to me, just give yourself about 4 weeks. And honestly, you'll just think, right, come on, get on with it now. And I did. And I wallowed and I cried and I hated the world and everybody in it and all you normal people who don't have cancer. You know, I hate you all. But no, I don't really. I'm just kidding you. You know, that was my kind of, you know, trauma at the time. And then I got over it and I got on with it. And it was just a case of get on with it. Before we start the next question, I'm going to have to get my plug and plug you in because the battery's running out. I've got 1%, so I don't want to lose you. I'm going upstairs now. Okay,
fine.
carry on.
That's fine. While you get your
Sorry.
plug, I'll just write a disclaimer on the bottom of the screen to say you don't actually hate 50% of the population.
50%, is it that high?
Yeah, 1 in 2 people, isn't it? Yeah. So
Yeah, that's it. No, I don't hate anyone. I love everyone.
And while you're getting your plug, I can also tell you that Serena has sent you a message. She's ordered your book last night, and she's looking forward to reading it. And she's been in touch with you about your retreat as well. So that'd be really good. Are you plugged in now? Are you wired? Oh, she's done it now.
Just waiting for Joe to come back.
She's lost her audio now.
Hang on.
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you now.
Are you sitting comfortably, Joe?
See, while she's doing that, we're getting a nice tour
Really
of all
sorry
the
about this,
clothes.
but I can't hear anything when you go off.
We can hear you.
You there?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear? Take your earpiece out. See if that helps. Just take the headset out, Joe. Okay, I'll just message you. Hold on. I know she can get that message while I'm trying to do it.
Just got a few technical issues at the moment that we're trying to iron out. We're going to see if Joe can re-enter the chat.
Problem is that she's changed the plugs, I think. When you've got an iPhone, you've only got one socket. Okay, you back with us now, Joe?
Can you hear us okay, Joe?
It's not happening.
Can you not hear anything?
Can you hear us?
Oh, right, okay. Well, as long as you can hear me, I can't hear you. That's the only problem.
Yeah, we can hear you absolutely fine. That's really weird. I tell you what, can you, because you've had to plug in your phone, can you lip read? Can you try logging? If you've had to plug your phone in, are you messaging us, Sarah? Just tell her to go out and come back in again.
Yeah, I'll re-sign in.
Yeah, plugging things in, nightmare.
The joy of technology.
You never change anything when it's working. 100% rule of thumb, that. Meanwhile, look at me in my camouflaged jumper. I'm surprised you can see me in front of the background.
You do blend well.
Thank you very much. It was a complete accident. Okay. Let's try again. She's coming. Okay, can you hear us now, Joe?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we can hear you. We're also getting a nice tour of your wardrobe.
I can hear Joe now.
That wasn't my husband wanting to saw me in half or anything.
So, Sarah, did you ask about the retreats? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, I was wanting to understand what kind of things happen on the retreat. I signed up for it, and unfortunately was accepted, but ended up back in hospital with sepsis, so I missed out. And quite a few of the Mid Yorkshire ladies have been on it and spoken highly about it. Could you fill us in on that, Jo?
Of course I can. So, because of the love of exercise that I have, I wanted, this was again originally from building the website, I wanted to create something for other patients because of how I felt with the, is that better? Can you hear me any better?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Because of the love of exercise that I had, I wanted to create something for other patients as well. So I embarked on having a pilot scheme for, I had 9 patients who came to Saddleworth, and I had them doing jogging, cycling, yoga, and Nordic walking. And this happened over 2 days. So what my aim was get them on a Friday night. We had a bit of a meet and greet and a meal together. Everybody get to know each other. And then on the Saturday, we ran, jogged or walked fast, depending on, what people's ability was, down a hill. And it was round about 2.5 miles. Sounds a lot. And people kind of thought, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do this. And you know what? A lot of the people did everything on the weekend. So they ran down the hill. We had a little break after we did that. It was probably around about 3/4 of an hour, Had a mini break. Then it was, everybody had bikes, so hire bikes, and we all cycle round. At the moment, it's round Dovestones. And then we go for lunch, and then in the afternoon it's a yoga session. So you do the hard work in the morning with the run and the cycling, and then the afternoon it's a yoga session, and then they come back again to the place where they're staying, and everybody stays together in one bed and breakfast, and they have therapies.
So when you're sort of suggesting to a patient that perhaps isn't interested or hasn't previously been involved in exercise, and you're saying to them, look, you're going to go for a jog, you're going to go for a run, then you do some yoga, we'll have a bit of lunch, what's the take up on that? Do they seem like it's a great idea, or, I mean,
Subscribed, that's all I can say.
right, okay.
The thing is, it's not just by me. What I do, I have professionals who are trained exercise. They train people to do Nordic walking or jogging or cycling. So it's all done by professional people, led by these people.
Yeah.
I do the exercise as well, and then obviously a trained yoga instructor. And yeah, people are just loving it. They want to. I've got a massively oversubscribed. I mean, this year I had way over 150, nearly 200 people who want to go on the retreats, and basically I've only got like 55 places to actually be able to hold this with people, because I just don't have the resource to actually be able to do more at the moment. But I mean, that's something hopefully in the future I might be able to do something about. What I need is a philanthropic person who will go, I'll give you a load of money and we'll set it up here, and here, and we'll do it all around the country.
That would be brilliant.
I've had people from Ireland come over. I've had people in America who want to come over. Scotland, Wales, Isle of Wight. Come from all over and descended on Saddleworth. I should be paid for tourist information.
The Saddleworth Tourist Information Board can pay you to promote them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I need. So yeah, 2 days of everybody thinks, oh God, it's just going to be so hard. I'm never going to do this. But people realize that they have such an ability and they don't realize that they can tap into that ability and they can do it. And, you know, most people fulfill everything. There was probably only a couple of people who've had to, you know, some people have to walk on the run. Obviously, you know, again, you've got what I have to have is a mix of primary and secondary breast cancer patients. So these people are vetted, and I do it in it's a very clinical way. And you know, there's got to be a disclaimer there. People can't come on this and willy-nilly and just think that, oh, I've got a bit of spine meds and come and do a bit of jogging. No, doesn't happen. They've got to be signed off. We've got to know that people are safe and secure, and it's really totally, utterly above board that, you know, there is no risk at all for these people. So they're coming doing this exercise in a very safe and secure environment, in a professional environment. It's not just some random woman from Saddleworth getting all these
Although I do like that idea that you're just a random woman, you know what I mean?
Random woman who's getting all these poorly people, you know, doing some jogging and cycling and whatever in Saddleworth. No, it's not happening. So yeah, it's all very, very, even though I laugh about it, it is very, very above board and very professional in what we do. And it's a big mixture of exercise and the peer-to-peer support. I think what we've found is that people have realised that that is also a big part of the weekends. Even though I didn't really, I knew it would be, but I didn't think it'd be as good as it is. And, you know, I then have groups on WhatsApp, so people keep in touch with each other. And I have one group who, you know, there's 11 people in the group. And for the last 2 years, sometimes I can wake up in the morning, there's 30 messages. So they're just chatting all the time about anything. You know,
Yeah, it's brilliant.
a new scan that they're going to have, or they're worried about something, or, you know, whatever it is, just life. And we all, you know, are together as a nice group, as a supportive group. So that's another thing what's come out of it as well, you know, that there are these little groups as well of patients. So
it's fantastic. You're doing absolutely amazing stuff, and it's just we're just honoured to be able to have this time to talk to you. Unfortunately, it is running out. So I think we need you to tell us two things. If you can tell us where we can sort of get your book and how we can find out about retreats, and then what we'll do is get you to come back on another time so we can talk further about future plans, if that's okay.
That would be excellent. Thank you. I've loved this. Thank you for having me.
No, that's fine. So if you can give us a link, that would be brilliant.
Yeah. So there's a link on my website, www.abcdiagnosis.co.uk. And if you look on the resources drop down, you'll see the book link. So you can click on that. That book you can order either as a hardback, well, just a paper book, or you can order it as an ebook, or you can order both of them. There's postage and packing and a little fee involved in that, but really they're free. And ebooks are free as well, so you can download that for free. And then the retreat is on there as well. So if you look at ABCD, I think it's under lifestyle, and you'll see ABCD retreats, and it goes through everything what I've just talked about in a professional way.
So not the drunk version then.
Not drunk. Yeah, so it tells you all about the ABCD retreats there. And yeah, the other thing as well I want to mention is MetUp UK. So that is another organisation that I have to do with metastatic secondary breast cancer, and it's more like a patient advocacy group. We're trying to make changes. So maybe I could come on and talk about that sometime.
Absolutely, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, and if you let me have any of the links, then we will attach it onto the video, which of course will be you can watch whenever you want on YouTube, and it will be on the podcast as well.
A huge thank you, Jo. It's a great honour to showcase your book and speak with you so frankly. Emma and I will obviously keep in touch, and just wish you all the best. You're doing
wonderful. Thank you so much for connecting with me, and thank you for having me on this. brilliant show.
And keep walking.
Keep walking, laughing, keep living. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-
Take care.